All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on what is basically a masterclass in global influence. We're going to deconstruct a really powerful strategy, a playbook, really, that has shaped politics and public opinion all over the world. Let's dive in. You ever see a major political shift happen and just wonder, how? How do these movements that feel so grassroots all of a sudden have huge amounts of power and funding? Is it just spontaneous, or is there something a bit more organized going on behind the scenes? Well, a lot of the time, these shifts aren't an accident. They are the result of a very carefully crafted plan. So today, we're going to break down this influence playbook, and we'll do it by looking at one group that has really, truly mastered it, the Atlas Network. Okay, so every playbook needs players, right? That's step one. Part one of this whole strategy is all about finding the right people, training them up, and then connecting them into this powerful, unified force. Exactly. Before you can even think about changing the world, you need people who are totally dedicated to your vision. This is the absolute foundation, building a deep bench of activists and operatives who are taught how to win. And just look at how systematic this is. It's not just a suggestion, it's a pipeline. You start by recruiting young, passionate people. Then you give them legit, professional skills in PR and political management. You connect them at global forums, and you provide ongoing mentorship so they stay on board for the long haul. And this isn't just some theory, These are real-world examples. Events like the Latin America Liberty Forum are huge hubs for bringing activists and thinkers together. You've also got direct support for specific youth groups, which builds this very real sense of community and shared mission that crosses borders. So, you've got your players, they're trained and ready to go. What's next? Well, now you have to design the plays. This next part is all about creating the ideas, the messages, and the media that are going to go out and dominate the public conversation. Now, this phrase is a direct quote from the source material, and wow, it's a powerful one. The goal isn't just about winning one election or passing a single law. The real strategy is to be in a constant battle for hearts and minds, to literally shift the entire cultural landscape. And check out how modern these tactics are. We're talking memes and viral videos made to spread like wildfire. We're talking about surveys that are given an academic veneer to make certain viewpoints seem more credible. It even includes training on how to discredit your opponents and annual contests that reward the most effective YouTube propaganda. But look, a media campaign can't just be tweets and viral videos, right? To have any real lasting power, it needs a foundation. It needs to feel legitimate. And that is where the think tanks come in. And the strategy here has a few different angles. The network gives out grants to get new think tanks started all over the globe. It promotes tools like an economic liberty index to frame the entire debate on its terms. And in some places, these think tanks don't just influence politics, they actually become political parties, like we saw in Argentina. Okay, so you have the people. You have the ideas. The final piece of the playbook is all about execution. It's about taking all that potential and turning it into real, concrete political change, especially when the moment is just right. To really get the philosophy here, you have to look at this famous quote from the economist Milton Friedman. The whole strategy is to have your policy ideas developed, polished, and just waiting in the wings. So when a crisis hits, and it could be economic, political, whatever, your solutions are the only ones ready to go, the only ones lying around. So what kind of ideas are we talking about? Well, according to the source material, the targets are pretty specific. During a crisis, the playbook often calls for pushing to weaken public sector unions, privatize things like state industries and pensions, and get rid of laws like compulsory voting. Of course, none of this just happens on its own. It's one thing to have ideas ready for a crisis, but it's another thing entirely to have the resources to launch a massive campaign to push them. The funding is really the fuel that makes this whole engine run. And what kind of money are we talking about here? Well, just to give you a sense of the scale, in 2016 alone, the Atlas Network reportedly sent this much, $5 million to its partners to push their goals forward. So where is all that cash coming from? It's actually a pretty diverse mix. The funding streams range from huge corporate donors and very powerful philanthropic foundations all the way to, believe it or not, U.S. government channels like the State Department and USAID. And get this, here's a fascinating little detail. To make sure their money is being spent effectively, the network hosts competitions that are literally modeled after the TV show Shark Tank.
Different groups come and pitch their marketing campaigns for free market policies. And the best, most persuasive ideas, they win the funding. It's like a competitive marketplace for political influence.
So we've walked through the whole playbook, right? Building the team, designing the plays, and then running the game. But why does any of this actually matter to you? Well, that brings us to what is maybe the most important part of this whole explainer.
You see, a lot of these influence tactics, they work best in the dark. They count on being obscure, on creating confusion, so it's really hard to see who's actually pulling the strings. So your defense, our defense, is the total opposite. It's bringing light. It's demanding clarity.
And that's really the key takeaway. When you can spot the plays as they're happening, when you can see the activist pipeline, or the coordinated media blitz, or how a crisis is being used, that strategy loses so much of its power over you. Just being aware is the first and most important step.
The goal here is absolutely not to make you feel scared or powerless. It's the exact opposite. Knowledge is light, right? By understanding how these things work, you're just better equipped to think critically, to ask the right questions, and to have informed conversations. It's all about empowerment.
And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. We've just taken apart one playbook. But just imagine for a second. Imagine a world where everybody had this kind of knowledge, where we could all instantly recognize these tactics no matter who was using them. What would our public debate even look like then? Yeah, that's something to think about.